For thousands of years, remnants of long-forgotten civilizations have secretly existed under the Earth's surface and oceans. Ancient peoples built flourishing subterranean and underwater cities using advanced technologies and knowledge they had preserved from their society's achievements and from extraterrestrial visitors. Many of these ancient civilizations are the survivors of Earth catastrophes which have periodically struck our world. Over the centuries, the residents of these secret underground and underwater cities have interacted with surface dwellers, sharing some of their advanced knowledge and technologies. Thus began the legends of Agartha, Shambhala, and fabulous subaquatic cities populated by mermen. Today, the dwellers of these underground and undersea cities have joined a comprehensive plan to expose themselves to surface humanity and to reveal the true history of Earth. They have begun working with an Earth alliance of nations possessing secret space programs that are working with off-world visitors to bring about a quantum leap in human evolution. The multi-step plan involves several phases, each of which will reveal wondrous secrets beginning with the ancient technological artifacts hidden inside the pyramids of Egypt, within underground caverns in the Americas and elsewhere. The residents of these underground and undersea cities also plan to introduce themselves to many more surface dwellers and allow some individuals to visit their cities and even remain if they wish. The next phase of the plan will be to officially introduce secret space programs to the rest of the world, along with the advanced propulsion, energy and health technologies that make such off-world programs possible. Finally, extraterrestrials will reveal themselves when humanity is ready to deal with the truth about off-planet visitors and our genetic origins.
Join Dr. Michael Salla as he presents evidence that the first phase of this comprehensive plan is now underway with recent announcements of a new chamber found in Egypt's Giza pyramid and the latest contactee accounts reporting that underground and undersea cities are welcoming surface dwellers.
Saudações a todos! Acabamos de assistir o vídeo trailer do webinar O Grande Plano de Redescobertas, que foi apresentado recentemente pelo Dr. Michael Salla. Ele descreve as diferentes fases do plano de divulgação total e que já estão em andamento em alguns aspectos. Nessa primeira fase de divulgação, estão inclusos os recentes anúncios de descobertas feitas na Pirâmide de Gizé e no Grande Cânion. Tais e descobertas são precursoras de anúncios ainda mais reveladores sobre tecnologias ancestrais encontradas nesses locais, também sobre civilizações intraterrenas, civilizações aquáticas, programas espaciais secretos e vida extraterrestre. No início de março desse ano, Dr. Michael Salla fez uma entrevista com a ex-arqueóloga e contatada Helena Danan, aonde conversaram sobre essa descoberta na Pirâmide de Gizé, que foi recém-anunciada. Vamos acompanhar um dos trechos mais importantes dessa entrevista.
Yes, indeed.
So I thought it'd be good to go back a little bit to your earlier career, because, I mean, you worked as an archaeologist in Egypt, and
Yes.
just a few days ago, you had this remarkable announcement that there was a new tunnel that was found in the pyramid, in the Great Pyramid, and that because you actually have worked there, I'm just going to put up a screen share so that way you can see. I mean, there it is. That's the Great Pyramids. I mean, 3 of them, and of course, you have this new discovery. So do you want to kind of like just explain to the audience exactly what the significance of this discovery is?
Well, it's the first time since the opening discovery of the Pyramid of Cheops that such a thing is found. This first was detected by muon radiography. So a void was already detected. But then they found this entrance to this tunnel, which goes to 30 meters deep. And very well constructed, 2 meters large. It's absolutely astounding. The whole world is, hold their breath for that. What it means is that it leads to somewhere. It's not a shaft. It's a tunnel where you can walk in. And that's very impressive. And that leads to somewhere in the pyramid. Because when you see all the mass of the pyramid with only the few we know of 3 corridors and 2 rooms, there is way more than that. And the pyramid is connected to an underground labyrinth city, much more ancient. So it was very interesting for me, who have worked in Egypt, and especially a short while with Dr. Zahi Hawass, to witness something very interesting that not many could have picked up, because I knew what it was about. There was this announcement and at the feet of the pyramids, and this Egyptian official said, the experts have decided that it's discharge corridor for the weight of the pyramid, and something architectural without no meaning especially. But Zahi Hawass comes after and says, I don't believe that. It's not a discharge corridor. It's a real corridor that leads to somewhere, and that leads to great discoveries. And see in the coming weeks what I say. Zahi Hawass knows. He knows what's inside. He's been many times underneath the plateau. He knows it very well. He's been underneath the Sphinx, in the Sphinx, everywhere. He knows. If someone knows there, it's him. But every time during the last decades, every time he tried to make an announcement, when he actually made announcements, we found a shaft in the Sphinx, we found tunnels under the Sphinx, etc., etc. A week later, every time, he was obliged to deny publicly what he had said. And I know that is because there are powers behind archaeological sites in Egypt. And I can say it frankly, it's the Freemasons. They own the sites, main sites in Egypt. Why? Because the sites they own have access to power, to technology that they would really like to use, So that's what I can say, Michael.
Well, that's very important. It gives us a background into discoveries under Egypt's pyramids, that this has been suppressed for decades by the Freemasons. And, this is something that I remember William Tompkins, the secret space program insider, he said the same, that the Freemasons are controlling all of these discoveries, and he knew of Egypt's discoveries being kind of like being kept secret by the Freemasons. and also Radu Cinema in his Transylvanian book series, saying the same thing. And of course, you directly experienced that. But
Yes.
what makes us, or what makes you feel that this announcement and Zoe Hawass saying that, again, something spectacular may be at the end of this tunnel, what makes you think it's different this time around? What do you think's happened?
I think it's different this time around because besides the fact that we know that the Freemasons are losing power and grip on things, that's all supposition from the events. That intervention of Zayawas gives me hope because he contradicts publicly, live, the Egyptian official. That wouldn't have happened like 10 years ago or a few years ago even. It wouldn't have happened. He wouldn't have done that because he would have faced consequences. So that makes me believe that something good is going to come out of it, that effectively a discovery may be at the end of the tunnel. But that also comes right after the Raven Rock meetings, and my belief that both are links. We're going to talk about that, I suppose, later.
Como pudemos ver, Helena explica que o recente anúncio sobre esse corredor encontrado na pirâmide já faz parte do plano de divulgação. Ela explica que o Dr. Zahi Hawass, o ex-líder do Departamento de Antiguidades do Egito, que por décadas foi amordaçado pelos maçons sobre revelar a verdadeira extensão das tecnologias avançadas e artefatos descobertos sobre o complexo de Gizé, dessa vez se levantou contra o anúncio oficial do governo sobre o significado desse corredor na pirâmide. Em uma coletiva de imprensa realizada por ele logo após o anúncio oficial do governo egípcio, Hawass deu a entender que fabulosos artefatos poderão ser encontrados na câmara ao final desse corredor. Isso não teria acontecido alguns anos atrás, se os maçons ainda estivessem com poder total sobre o governo ou sobre as divulgações. Em uma atualização subsequente a essa entrevista, Helena Danan relata informações recebidas de um de seus contatos da Federação Galáctica, dessa vez da comandante Ardana. Ela explica que esse corredor realmente leva a uma câmara, e nessa câmara está localizada uma cadeira holográfica de tecnologia altamente avançada, que contém toda a história verdadeira da humanidade terrestre. Agora, mudando um pouco o foco para as descobertas que aconteceram no Grande Canyon, também em março desse ano tivemos o incrível relato de JP. JP, que é fonte do Dr. Michael Salla e serve atualmente no Exército dos Estados Unidos, foi enviado ao Grande Canyon em uma missão secreta, com uma equipe de 6 homens, contendo arqueólogos e especialistas em linguagens ancestrais, para investigar artefatos antigos encontrados em um grande complexo de cavernas. Depois de mais de 5 horas de viagem e 40 minutos de barco, JP e equipe chegaram a essa localização secreta no Grande Canyon. Encontraram com um ranger do Serviço Nacional de Parques, que os acompanhou nessa missão. Antes de entrar no complexo de cavernas, JP relata sobre um corredor esculpido com inscrições semelhantes à Arca do Oceano Atlântico. Vamos acompanhar um trecho bem relevante dessa entrevista.
Okay, so in the cavern you see the hieroglyphs on the walls. You have flashlights so you can illuminate it. Are they just the walls? What about the ceilings? What about the floor?
Well, the ceilings were smoothed out like marble. They were smoothed out, and it looked like an arc. It looked like an arc, so it was smoothed out, like you can
Like an arch.
like an arch, but it kept going, and it's smooth like marble, like it was made by something, like it was professionally done by somebody that knows about architecture.
Okay, so very smooth walls and ceiling, right?
The walls had hieroglyphics similar to what we see in Egypt, but they were not colored in. They were ingrained on the walls. So it's holographics, but on when you go into the rooms, some of them were with color, holographic physical color. I went into one room with another guy, and we flashed the flashlight to the wall, and depending how you put the lighting, it gives you a different holographics. Um, like depending where the shadow is, the story changes. So it was kind of cool. I never seen that type of holographics before. Usually is one and it's straight, but depending on how you flash your light on it and the shadows you see, it turns to a different story. So I guess you have to know the degree of the lighting you give on the holographics to in order to get the story. It's like a type of code. They also had this in arcs too. When they were down there, they were also doing that on different parts of the arcs, because depending how you move the light on shadows, you can see it giving a different story or saying something different. So you can look at say a 3x3 holographics, and it can say 2 to 3 different stories depending on how you put the light on it. So it's kind of interesting. So it is usually left, up, and right will give you the stories, because we have to know that in these days, back in the ancient times, they didn't have a lot of lighting inside. Some of them had lighting, but they figured out how, by using shadows and manipulating the 3D action of the holographic with shadows, you could tell different stories. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think I do. I think there's, in the commercial market, there are things where almost like, you can just kind of shift the angle and you see a different perspective, depth perspective. So yeah, I can understand how.
Similar to, I don't know if you ever seen a tattoo that says life, and then you turn it upside down and it says death.
Okay.
It's similar like to that. I don't know if people have ever seen that before. That's kind of cool. That's a cool tattoo. It says life, and when you turn it upside down, it says death. So similar to the holographics, depending how you flash the lights, it gives you a different story. So we were in that room, and then we kept going out, because there's a lot of research that has to be done on this place that we went, and a lot of information that is there that could change everything that we think of, but they're holding it back for a particular time. I don't know when, I don't know what's going on, but this is something that the public needs to know, and it's really, really interesting. So we went in, we kept going in, and we kept following the ranger, and then we went into this big, big, big hallway, and we saw a lot of mummies. It was a lot of mummies, and they were probably like 6'2", 6 foot tall mummies. They were wrapped with white cloth, but the cloth was already tan of how old it was. And we passed that big room, and then we went farther in, and the ranger said, "Hey, we never went this far in, but the reason
Before
we
you
called you is..."
continue, before you go on, what happened to the metallic tablets? You said you saw metallic tablets after you left the room with the hieroglyphs.
Well, those metallic tablets, they're still in that particular room.
So the same room as the hieroglyphs, you had these metallic tablets.
Yes.
And what were they like? I mean, just describe more.
They're heavy. They're heavy. They were golden color, and each one was like 60, 65 pounds. I tried to move one, 65 pounds. And by it had like a stand that you can put them on. You can put them on a stands, but these, they have holes in them. They have holes in them, and in the writing, like, same thing. When you flash a light, this stand that holds the tablets, when you flash the light on it, on the wall, you can see constellations using these tablets. They show dots that show the constellation on the wall. So that was quite interesting. And it also had writings as well. But they did not have pictures.
So when you
So
say they had writings but not pictures, so the walls had these hieroglyphs, the tablets had writing but no pictures. So that would seem to be a different language altogether.
different language. It was different language, similar to the Sumerian language, with the triangles, dots, lines, triangles, lines, triangles, little triangles on the tips. More closer to the Sumerian text.
Okay, well, I know the Mormons talk about Joseph Smith seeing these golden tablets that were part of some ancient civilization in the Americas, and then the tablets were taken away. But it sounds something like that, these golden tablets with writings on them in an ancient language, maybe like Sumerian.
Yeah. There was a lot of it. It was a room like a library. There was a lot of these tablets. It was kind of interesting, but they were more interested in what they wanted to show us behind the room where the mummies were.
Okay, yeah.
So
Continue.
I know they probably were there. I think they already knew about all these rooms and all that, but what they really wanted to show us was the room behind. After we went to the other room, all six of us, plus the ranger and that archaeologist guy, the ranger was excited to show us this room. So the guy that's wearing the mask, that's a high ranking, that I didn't know who he was, we followed him, and he just went like, "What the hell is this?" when he went into the room. And we had the lamps, and everybody, we made when you go in, make a right, the second guy makes a left, third guy makes a right, fourth guy makes a left, and we did like a horseshoe, and we just spotted the light. There was a type of ship there that was metallic, and it was just parked there. And it's different from all the ships I have seen, Doc, because you can feel the humming, similar to the experience I had in Brazil when you feel this. It's not anxiety sensation, but you feel good. You feel like excited. You feel a good vibe about the place. And it looks similar to the ships that were parked, the one I saw in that other mission, all those ships that were parked, but this one was up close and I could see. And the archaeologist that was with the ranger, he went to it and he touched it, and a door opened sideways from the ship, and no stairs came down. So you had to like get up there by jumping or grabbing the edge of it and climbing in. No ramp or nothing came down of it. And this ship did not have no legs. It was just on its belly and on the dirt, on the sand. There was a
How
couple
big was
rocks. It was the size of like 4 minivans altogether, 4. So maybe 50 or 60 by 60
feet we're talking about?
feet, 60 feet by 60 feet.
Okay.
It's a good size. But we looked inside, and it's like for little people, not for our size, smaller people. I saw writings on it, like the same writings I saw with the ant people. Really similar writing, but I think it was more ancient. And I also saw in the ship, you could see like you could put your hands on, like 2 hands side by side, and it has layers that you could fit also human hands on it. And I think that's the way you control the ship, putting your hands in there, and then quantum communicates with you with the brain, and you go from there.
So you were actually inside the ship. So were you
I,
like, were
I
you able to walk around, or did you have to go on your knees or something, or crouch?
no, I had a crouch. I had a crouch. We all had a crouch. One of the guys put his hand on, and the ship turned on, but he just put one hand. He was like, "Oh shit! Oh man! You guys saw that? Oh man! I activated it." And the archaeologist was like, hey, don't put two hands there. You put the two hands there, we all die. It's like, oh shit, oh crap. So when he put his hand on it, the ship lighted up. Like, when you take a picture, it lit up like that. He took his hand off fast. What was cool is when you flash the light on a ship, it absorbs the light. So the light gives it energy. So it absorbs the light and it uses the light as energy as well. So when you flash the flashlight, it does not reflect back. It absorbs it. So when you turn off the flashlight, you can see part of the metal of the ship turning blue and then glow in the dark and then disappears. So any light will give energy to this ship, or anything that gives heat also gives energy to the ship. So us being there, we were giving energy to the ship. And that was what the archaeologist was explaining. He knew a lot about this. The ranger, he was just, oh, I can't believe this is here, but we can't talk nothing about it. If I say anything about this, they'll think I'm a kook. And he's like, yo, tell me about it, So these rangers that work in these national parks, some of them are hired just to take care of these places. So I found that kind of interesting.
So when you say to take care of these places, that is to kind of like find them and to kind of like sanitize them from the public, make sure that the public doesn't know, and just let the authorities.
Make sure they don't get close to it. Make sure that the public don't know. But I talked to the ranger. He said they pick a selected few that were ex-military or worked somewhere in the government, and those selected few are in charge of keeping these places, clean, and make sure these places are kept nice. And not even his comrades know about these places or location. Only they know. Only those chosen that are protecting the National Park Service are protected. It's protected. When we were coming in and before it rained, downstream, you could see more people. I could see more people there. So we were not the only ones there. More downstream, there was also, I saw a military tent and I saw a black helicopter there parked. Well, I saw that before going into the caves. So for me, I thought, okay, oh, that's how we're gonna go into here, and then we're gonna come out from over there and take the helicopter back. But that wasn't the case. We never went to where the helicopter was. So we went in and we saw the ship, and they started taking pictures. I didn't have my phone with me. If I had my phone with me, I would take pictures. I know a lot of people want pictures and all that, but soon people will see these ships flying around. They're going to be flying around a lot, especially South America, Australia, that area, and mid United States. They're going to see this a lot. They're going to see these ships coming up and maneuvering and coming down.
Como pudemos acompanhar nesse relato, a equipe do JP encontrou dentro das câmeras hieroglifos e outros escritos nas paredes que os arqueólogos identificaram como sendo egípcios, sumérios e outras línguas ancestrais. Também viram mais de 40 tabuetas de ouro, com inscrições antigas, sarcófagos de tamanhos variados, com múmias preservadas dentro, e finalmente chegaram na parte principal da missão: uma sala contendo um disco voador. Conseguiram entrar na nave para explorá-la e notaram que foi construído para uma raça de humanoides pequenos, de aproximadamente 1,20 m de altura. A equipe teve que se agachar enquanto explorava essa nave, que ainda estava perfeitamente preservada. JP acredita que essa nave pertence a uma civilização primitiva, a do povo formiga. Escritos nas paredes em volta dessa nave eram diferentes das outras salas. Por último, após o encontro com esse disco voador do povo formiga ancestral, encontraram uma outra sala, dessa vez contendo uma enorme biblioteca, com pergaminhos e outras tabuletas. também uma incrível esfera com constelações entalhadas que apareciam conforme a iluminação. Essa foi a incrível missão e relato de JP ao Grande Canyon. Como pudemos ver, grandes revelações que já estão a acontecer estão vindo do nosso próprio planeta Terra. São revelações para mostrar que nosso passado é muitíssimo mais do que nos foi contado. Continuamos acompanhando essa luta pelas divulgações e estamos atentos às próximas fases. Saudações a todos!